Jeremiah 51:25 through 64. Devotional focus verse. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will plead thy cause, and take vengeance for thee, and I will dry up her sea, and make her springs dry. Jeremiah 51:36. Even now I can hear my mother's words as if it were yesterday. If anybody tries to do that again, just let me know, and I will go and talk to them, she would say emphatically. These were the scary promises of my little mother, a dynamic lady who is several inches shorter than me now that I am fully grown. She was definitely the champion of my siblings and me. If we ever had trouble at school, she was the proverbial mother hen, ready to go and protect her chicks. Mom had a way of saying exactly what she wanted to say, and my siblings and I knew she was on our side as long as we were behaving ourselves. She was a master at pleading our causes. Her verbal abilities ultimately could prove to be embarrassing, though, so school incidents were not always reported at home. At times, it was just easier to put up with a trying situation rather than to have our teachers and fellow students know that Mom had come to take care of things. But it was always good and reassuring to know we had someone at home who would stick up for us, whether or not we chose to enlist her help. In our focus verse, God was declaring himself to be the champion for the children of Israel. He would plead their cause against their tormentors because he loved them and would protect and deliver them when they were obedient to him. In this portion of Scripture, God was pronouncing judgment upon the nation of Babylon and wreaking vengeance on behalf of his people. Let us not forget, as we go about our work and daily lives, that God is our champion, our advocate, our protector, and our defender. We are his children, and we have the assurance that he will be our source of help in times of trouble. We can call upon him and rely on him when we face difficult circumstances. He is ready to plead our cause, and he is always available to help. Background information. In today's text, Jeremiah prophesied the destruction of Babylon. Throughout Israel's history, God at times used other nations, including Babylon, the Chaldeans as they were frequently called, to implement his plan against the disobedient Jewish people. However, the wickedness of the idolatrous Babylonian people was not to go unpunished. Babylon would be destroyed. God declared that the devastation of this nation would be so extensive that the rubble would not even be reused for new construction, and the land would be without inhabitant and desolate forever. See verses 25 through 26. Through the prophet, God said he would call for the surrounding nations to come and attack. The mighty men of Babylon apparently felt completely safe within their strong city walls. So when this prophecy was fulfilled and they discovered enemies inside the city, they fled, panic-stricken. Just as he had said, the Lord threshed Babylon as grain is threshed. See verse 33. Nebuchadnezzar had taken all the riches and fine things of Judea, devouring the good and discarding the remains. Therefore, God proclaimed that he would have vengeance, drying up all available water and making Chaldea notably desolate. When this came to pass, Babylon was taken while the inhabitants were celebrating with revelry and wine. Since it was late in the day, some were killed while asleep in bed, suddenly thrusting them into a perpetual sleep. See verse 39. Shishak, see verse 41, was the name of a goddess and idol, and perhaps in this context the name meant Babylon. The praise of the whole earth referred to Babylon's reputation as one of the 7 wonders of the world. When it was destroyed, wave after wave of Babylon's enemies came upon her as a sea, overrunning the city. Bel, see verse 44, was the Babylonians' supreme deity, and God said he would require all of the treasures stolen for dedication to this idol be returned. Also, nations would no longer flock to admire this great city. In verses 45 and 46, God warned his people to flee away from Babylon. He asked them to remember Jerusalem, perhaps encouraging them to go and restore the city. See verses 50 and 51. They were ashamed that their temple had been desecrated by strangers. In verses 52 and 53, the Lord promised that even if Babylon was fortified to the heavens, he would still avenge his people. Verses 59 through 64 record how Jeremiah asked Seraiah to write the prophecy against Babylon and read it to the children of Israel there. He was then to tie a stone to the prophecy and throw it in the river, signifying the demise of the city. Conclusion. God is just and ultimately will not tolerate any form of wickedness. If we live righteously and follow his guidelines, he will be our advocate.
Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord, which destroyest all the earth. And I will stretch out mine hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a burnt mountain. And they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith the Lord. Set ye up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Minni, and Ashkenaz, appoint a captain against her, cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation, without an inhabitant. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might hath failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken at one end, and that the passages are stopped, and the reeds they have burned with fire, and the men of war are affrighted. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her, yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come. Nebuchadrezzar the king of Babylon hath devoured me. He hath crushed me. He hath made me an empty vessel. He hath swallowed me up like a dragon. He hath filled his belly with my delicates. He hath cast me out. The violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babylon, shall the inhabitant of Zion say, and my blood upon the inhabitants of Chaldea, shall Jerusalem say. Therefore thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will plead thy cause and take vengeance for thee, and I will dry up her sea and make her springs dry. And Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place for dragons, an astonishment and an hissing, without an inhabitant. They shall roar together like lions, they shall yell as lions' whelps. In their heat I will make their feasts, and I will make them drunken, that they may rejoice and sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, saith the Lord. I will bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams with he-goats. How is Shishak taken? And how is the praise of the whole earth surprised? How is Babylon become an astonishment among the nations? The sea is come up upon Babylon. She is covered with the multitude of the waves thereof. Her cities are a desolation, a dry land, and a wilderness, a land wherein no man dwelleth, neither doth any son of man pass thereby. And I will punish Bel in Babylon, and I will bring forth out of his mouth that which he hath swallowed up, and the nations shall not flow together any more unto him. Yea, the wall of Babylon shall fall. My people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of the Lord. And lest your heart faint, and ye fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land, a rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that in another year shall come a rumor, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. Therefore, behold, the days come that I will do judgment upon the graven images of Babylon, and her whole land shall be confounded, and all her slain shall fall in the midst of her. Then the heaven and the earth and all that is therein shall sing for Babylon, for the spoiler shall come unto her from the north, saith the Lord. As Babylon hath caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of all the earth. Ye that have escaped the sword, go away, stand not still. Remember the Lord afar off, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. We are confounded because we have heard reproach. Shame hath covered our faces, for strangers are come into the sanctuaries of the Lord's house. Wherefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will do judgment upon her graven images, and through all her land the wounded shall groan. Though Babylon should mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify the height of her strength, yet from me shall spoilers come unto her, saith the Lord. A sound of a cry cometh from Babylon, and great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans, because the Lord hath spoiled Babylon, and destroyed out of her the great voice. When her waves do roar like great waters, a noise of their voice is uttered. Because the spoiler is come upon her, even upon Babylon, and her mighty men are taken, every one of their bows is broken, for the Lord God of recompenses shall surely requite. And I will make drunk her princes and her wise men, her captains and her rulers and her mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, saith the King, whose name is the Lord of hosts. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the broad walls of Babylon shall be utterly broken, and her high gate shall be burned with fire. And the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary. The word which Jeremiah the prophet commanded Seraiah, the son of Neriah, the son of Maaseiah, when he went with Zedekiah the king of Judah into Babylon in the 4th year of his reign. And this Seraiah was a quiet prince. So Jeremiah wrote in a book all the evil that should come upon Babylon, even all these words that are written against Babylon. And Jeremiah said to Seraiah, When thou comest to Babylon, and shalt see, and shalt read all these words, then shalt thou say, O Lord, thou hast spoken against this place to cut it off, that none shall remain in it, neither man nor beast, but that it shall be desolate forever. And it shall be, when thou hast made an end of reading this book, that thou shalt bind a stone to it, and cast it into the midst of Euphrates. And thou shalt say, Thus shall Babylon sink, and shall not rise from the evil that I will bring upon her. And they shall be weary. Thus far are the words of Jeremiah.